Hello YouTube, your shooting buddy here again. Thank you very much for giving it some time and attention again today. What I'm going to talk about today is another topic that's near and dear to my heart. A lot of the videos in the past have been on the AR-15 and its many aspects and gunsmithing and things like that regarding AR-15s. But today we're going to talk about the Venerable 1911. Now I say Venerable because if ever there was a gun, an American gun that is venerable, it's going to be the 1911, the 1873 Colt, the Winchester 96, and things like that. So here we are. So here is an example of the 1911. Now safety first. So we'll open it, look inside the chamber, and you can see that it's clear. So this gun is safe. Before, we had AR-15s to play with. We had 1911s. And why do I say play with them? Well, the 1911 was very much customizable. Everybody made all kinds of parts for 1911s. You could have fancy triggers and sears and barrels and ambidextrous slide releases and magazine releases, beaver tail grip safeties, and any number of things that made the gun more customizable. I don't know if everybody knows the history of the 1911, but it was adopted by the military in March of 1911 to become the official U.S. sidearm for the military. 45 ACP, designed by John Browning and built by Colt in Hartford, Connecticut. And you know, when the trials began, there were all kinds of testing that went into it, and there was so many different torture tests they put the guns through, and there were submissions by all the famous gun makers and some that aren't so famous anymore. And the only one that came out at the end of the trial still working was the Colt 1911. Now, what did they do? One of the things they did was they had, one of the trials was it had to shoot 6,000 rounds under the auspices of firing the gun for 100 rounds, then letting it cool off for 5 minutes, and proceeding on. After every 1,000 rounds, the gun was allowed to be cleaned, disassembled, oiled, and put back together to go on to the next 1,000 rounds. And this went on till they passed 6,000 rounds. Then what they had to do was bury the gun in sand and mud, underwater, then take it out of the muck and the mire that it was in, wipe it off superficially, and then it had to fire all kinds of misformed and damaged ammunition. And all the other contenders failed somewhere along the way. At the end of the day, the Colt 1911 was still standing, and I'm sure it wasn't called the 1911 then because nobody knew it would be for sure adopted, but that's what became really one of the most famous and sought after handguns made in America. So I wanted to go over a little bit of my particular 1911, and you can see here, this one I pretty much put together from scratch. Right down to, I did a complete trigger guard job on it. I changed out the beaver tail, the hammer, the trigger, the slide release, and the magazine catch. Everything here is changed out. And 1911 is chambered for the 45 ACP, which is one of the most powerful standard pistol rounds that are out there. It's still used extensively today in competition by many a concealed carry person, and it's just been proven time and again to be a man-stopper. And the reason you carry a gun, which is really a platform for the bullet, which is designed to stop a fight, not slow it down. It's designed to stop a fight. And you know, there's been long history of people saying that that a 45 ACP, if it clipped you in the ear, would put you down on the ground. And you get hit in the chest with it, and you'd be thrown back half a football field. Well, while I wouldn't want to have my ear clipped, or really never want to be hit in the chest with one, it's not gonna do any of those things. But it does have the critical stopping power that you want in personal protection handgun. It's a defensive weapon. A handgun is a defensive weapon, not an offensive weapon, even though some criminal types use it that way. So it's a very, very good gun, and lots of people still use the 1911. So I'm going to take this one down a little bit so you can see the insides of it a little bit, and then I'll talk a little bit about Jeff Cooper, one of my gun writer heroes back in the day when I was growing up with Guns and Ammo magazine. You know, I could never wait until the next issue came out, mainly to read Jeff Cooper, but all the other articles that are in there. The internet has since kind of killed off that enthusiasm, because what you can find out in a magazine that has a 3 or 4 month lead time, you really knew the day after it happened from the internet, and it's just that much more relevant than paper printed magazines are. But man, in their day, it was something. So Jeff Cooper is quite the personality. If you don't know him, you should look him up, and hopefully at the end of this video I'll be able to fit in a few of his famous quotes. Alright, hold on while I change the view. Okay, so now what we're going to do is disassemble the gun. First thing you want to always do is check to make sure it is empty. So here I am. I've opened the slide, and you can see there's no round in the chamber, and the magazine is out of the gun, so it's completely safe. Okay, and so what you want to do is when you're dealing with a 1911, you almost need a bushing wrench. The bushing wrench is used to turn the bushing so that you don't get the recoil spring hitting you in the face. So what I'm going to do is release the pressure on the spring. Okay, there's the slide stop. Take the spring out. Then the next thing you want to do is take the slide stop out of the gun. And so what you do is, you see here there's a little tiny cutout. You line that up, and then you're able to just push this through and lift it out. So it's easy as that. Then the slide comes off of the frame, barrel comes out, then you can turn the bushing and get it out of the gun. Okay, so here it is. And what we have here is, this is the standard 5-inch barrel for a government model. It's a little bit of a match barrel. I've had this gun for a very, very long time. I put it together from the last pin and spring inside this gun. So this has been my baby. So this is a nice match 45 barrel. This is an extended guide rod for the spring to ride on. See how the spring rides on this? The normal guide rod is only about up to here. So the spring has, when it's being compressed, it has a lot of wiggle room on it. This eliminates all the wiggle room on that and makes the gun a little more accurate. You can see here I put on a skeletonized trigger, stainless steel color, and I have the extended beaver tail grip safety, which is right here. And this gun has literally slayed, I can't tell you how many bowling pins in its life. I set it up for a bowling pin gun, and that's what it's been doing. I've got this ghost ring rear sight that you see on here. That's good for folks like me with bad eyes and not able to see as well as I was before. And you can see here I have the fiber optic front sight, nice green fiber optic sight. It lights up like it had a battery in the daylight, so you can really see it. It's not really a night sight, but I don't use it for night shooting at all. And so that is the basis of a standard government model 1911. It's as easy as that to take apart. It's not maybe as easy as some of the more modern guns like the Glock or the Springfield or the Smith & Wesson or whatever may be your flavor of the month. This gun has been around all this time, serving the people and shooters that love it and won't part with it no matter what. Over here, this is an officer's model. It's a Springfield Armory. It's called a V10 Ultra Compact 45 ACP. And Why it's called a V10 is, you can see here, it's got two sets of ports at a V angle for the muzzle blast to be dissipated on. And the muzzle blast shooting up in that angle is supposed to keep your barrel down and make getting a second shot